Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare। श्री हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंद जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंद जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंद ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाखया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगना ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कांत राधा कांत तप्त कांचन गौरांगे श्री राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा वांछा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। गुरवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकायै तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः। आनन्दलीलामय विग्रहाय हेमावदिव्यच्छविसुन्दराय तस्मै महाप्रेम रसप्रदाय चैतन्यचन्द्राय नमो नमस्ते। चैतन्यचन्द्राय नमो नमस्ते। चैतन्यचन्द्राय नमो नमस्ते। Nityanandam Maham Naumi Sarvananda Karam Param Harinama Pradam Devam Avadhuta Shiromani. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki, Shri Nityananda Rama ki, Shri Gaura Nitaya ki, Srila Prabhupada ki. Hare Krishna. Thank you all, dear devotees, for once again coming on this long weekend Monday evening. As we were making the point earlier, that we all look forward for holidays. Whether it's the kids, whether it's a working professional, holidays is something we all look forward. But sadly, the first part of the day is very happy. We are very, very happy. But by the time the sun sets, and tomorrow morning you have to head back to your office. Doesn't matter whether it's work from home or you have to go. You still have to work. The minds, I'm pretty sure for all the devotees who are in IT, the mind is already starting. What is the meeting tomorrow morning? What are the pending things that are still there? On Friday evening, we would have left few things that Tuesday ko dekh lenge. But now the mind is going. What are the things that I have to do? But amidst all of that, all of you all have prioritized to come here to chant and dance and to inspire me with your very kind presence. I'm very, very grateful. Very, very grateful. Of course, this is the last class in this visit. We started our discussion on Saturday where we spoke about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In fact, throughout our theme has been Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. On Saturday, we spoke about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Yesterday, for the Sunday feast, we again spoke about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with different personalities, different associates of Srila Prabhupada who have helped Srila Prabhupada in various ways. And through their life, how they have taught different life lessons. And of course, as the theme has been Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, today's discussion will also be continuing our discussion on Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and also Sri Nityananda Prabhu. All this while we have spoken about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but Nityananda Prabhu's appearance is there in another 20 days. So just to keep him also happy, we will also speak about Sri Nityananda Prabhu. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, in his Navadvip Dham Mahatmya, explains a very interesting story. One time, Suta Goswami was speaking Gaur Katha in Naimisharanya. Same Suta Goswami, audience same Shaunakadi Rishi, but location is different, content is different. Suta Goswami is speaking the pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Shaunakadi Rishi at Naimisharanya. Now this is not the Naimisharanya of Bhagavatam. This Naimisharanya is in Navadvip Dham. In the place called as Madhyadvip, one of the 9 islands, there is a place called as Naimisharanya. So at Naimisharanya, in the land of, beautiful land of Navadvip, Suta Goswami is speaking the pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now wherever pastimes of the Lord are being sung, devotees are very interested, or at least they should be interested. So the best devotee, Vaishnavanam Yata Shambhu, Shivaji, Bholenath, Shankar. Shankarji hears that, oh, Gaur Katha is going on. I should also go. So he decides to go to hear the pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now he sits on his order carrier Nandi. Shivaji's order carrier is Nandi. Many times in Vrindavan also we find, especially at Gopeshwar Mahadev. Now it's generally believed that if you close one ear of Nandi and another ear you share whatever you want, whatever heart's desires are there, it gets fulfilled. It's tried and tested. So if you have been to Gopeshwar Mahadev, you will find many are standing in line. In fact, the line for Nandi is way more than even Gopeshwar Mahadev. Because everyone has so much desires. Even Nandi is thinking that, itna desire ho gaya, abhi thoda Shiv ji ka bhi darshan kar lo. So line there will be way more than even Gopeshwar. So Lord Shiva sits on the Nandi. And where is he going? To Naimisharanya. To do what? To hear Gaur Katha. Who's the speaker? Sutta Goswami. Who's the audience? Shaunaka Rishi. Now he sat on the Nandi, and the Nandi is going. Shivaji is going. Very enthusiastic that now I will hear Gaur Katha. But midway, he realizes, wait a minute, this Nandi is very slow. If this is the speed in which Nandi goes, I will reach only for Prasadam. Class will be done, I will reach only for Prasadam. Our favorite activity. Our favorite, Mahaprasadam. That's one anga of bhakti where we are convinced that it is Krishna. We may or may not have faith that holy name is Krishna. We may or may not have faith that deity is Krishna. But Prasadam, it has to be Krishna. Most often we find people end up becoming devotees not by the power of Katha, but by the power of Prasadam. As Prabhupada would say, ISKCON bullets. And of course, if you are in North America, you have ISKCON bullets, Gauranga potatoes. It's a big hit. I was speaking to one devotee in India, and while I was speaking, I said Gauranga potatoes, and he was clueless. I said, wait a minute, you don't know Gauranga potatoes? He said, no. I said, it is better to not memorize few verses of Bhagavad Gita, but if you don't know Gauranga potato, ISKCON mein aake kya kiya? And he was clueless. He didn't know what Gauranga potato is. It's almost like you have 10 Namaprads, this should be the 11th. Prasadam Aparad. So we find that Shivaji was thinking to himself, if this is the speed with which I go, I will reach only for Prasadam. I have to change something. Maybe during those times there was no Tesla. No Tesla car. He could not accelerate. So he parked his Nandi to the side. Ye speed mein chalega nahi. I have to use something very fast. He goes to Brahmaji. Now Brahmaji is sitting with his eyes closed. 4 heads, 8 eyes, everything is closed. Brahma is he has 4 heads. For the IT guys, he is the quad core processor. He has 4 heads. He's the quad core processor. So Brahmaji is sitting, eyes are closed. Now Shivaji comes there and says, you are anyway not using your order carrier. What is the order carrier of Brahmaji? Hamsa. Swan. So Shivaji is saying, you are anyway not using, you are anyway closing your eyes. Like few devotees will start closing their eyes once the katha starts. For those who are closing, continue doing so. But we'll see. So we find that Shivaji goes to Brahmaji and says, you are anyway closing your eyes. So you better give me your order carrier, Hamsa, your swan. So Brahmaji says, okay. Shivaji sits on the order carrier, that is Hamsa. This is a side point. Brahmaji always travels on the white swan, Hamsa. And in this world we find there is a very famous airline. Now this Hansa or the swan has become lost. It has become lost because we don't see people flying in swans, right? That has become lost. In Sanskrit, the word for lost is lupta. Lupta. That translates to Lufthansa. It's Lupta Hansa, the lost swan of Brahmaji. It is real. Lupta Hansa, because Lufthansa is white and it's an order carrier, or it carries people. But now because that is lost, that Lufthansa has become Lufthansa. But it is Lupta Hansa, the lost order carrier of Brahmaji. Everything has its origin in Shastra. Shastra mein sab kuch hai. Everything is there in Shastra. Pibata bhagavatam rasamalayam muraho rasika bhuvi bhavuka. Someone who has tasted the nectar of Shastra, there is no need to go outside. You will find everything in Shastra. Everything. Sometimes when I'm speaking to the youth is that phase when they are very fascinated with Bollywood songs and Hollywood songs and rap. That's like, I don't know whether it's latest, but that is something youth get attracted to, rap music. And for those who know, it's just a faster version. So I always say Shastra also has rap in it. In the Narsingha Puran, there is a very beautiful verse that glorifies Narsinghadev. And it's almost like a rap. Satye daitya kula dinash samaye simpurdo martya kriti treta yam dashakandaram paribhavam rameti nama kriti gopalam paripalayam rajapure bharam haram dvapare gauranga priya kirtane kaliyuge chaitanya nama prabhu. Transcendental rap. Shastra has everything. It has rap. It has everything. So here, our Shivji, back to our Lufthansa. So next time you sit in a Lufthansa flight, let us remind ourselves, this is not German invention. This is Brahmaji's invention. This is Brahmaji's order carrier. So now he sits on the swan, and now he's going to Naimasharanya. And fortunately, the katha was still going on. Prasadam has not started. So Shivji goes, and Shivji sits behind and is hearing Gaur Katha. For 7 days, Lord Shiva hears Gaur Katha. He's already interested in Krishna Katha, but here he also hears Gaur Katha. Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains, teaching by example that a devotee means he should be always enthusiastic to hear a Katha. How much our impediments are there, how much our problems are there, one should always be enthusiastic in hearing the pastimes of Supreme Lord. So I thank all of you all. Different devotees are coming from different places. All of us have brought our Lufthansa, our order carrier, whether that's a Honda, whether that's a Tesla or whatever it is. But thank you so much for coming and following the parampara of Shivaji, showing and demonstrating how eager one should be in hearing Krishna Katha or Gaura Katha. We find Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he appeared in this world, Mahaprabhu not was but is the most merciful because he is still present. And Srila Prabhupada had this same mood of being very merciful, very compassionate. In 1977, when Prabhupada was there in Juhu Temple, Bombay is my office, Prabhupada would say. Bombay is my office. Mayapur is the place of worship, and Vrindavan is home. Vrindavan is home. Vrindavan is home for everyone, in fact. All other places are home away from home. Vrindavan is home. There's always a difference between home away from home and our home. So Prabhupada in 1977 was there in Juhu Temple. And Prabhupada was very ill. So much so that he would take only a half glass of orange juice every single day. That's it. Prabhupada was very weak. Ante Leela Pastimes. So one priest by the name Sampat Kumar Bhattacharya from Bangalore, he got to know that Prabhupada is ill. Please hear this. He got to know that Prabhupada is very ill. So he decided to take a flight from Bangalore to Mumbai. Now we are talking about 1977. It's a big thing to take a flight. Putting his own money and taking a flight just to meet Prabhupada. And now because Prabhupada was ill, not many devotees were allowed. Only his dear associates like Srila Tamal Krishna Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Charu Maharaj, etc. Those who were serving him. But because this Sampat Kumar Bhattacharya, the priest, came from there, he said he wants to meet Prabhupada. And Srila Tamal Krishna Maharaj allowed. So he went inside. And he looked at Prabhupada and said, Swamiji, what happened? Prabhupada said, I'm ill. Not keeping well. So he said, I have to tell you something. Prabhupada said, yes. Prabhupada had a very regal way of saying it. Yes. Very charismatic. So he said, yes, what is it? So this Sampat Kumar Bhattacharya, the priest, he said, Swamiji, I was in Vrindavan and I need to tell you something. In Vrindavan temple, in the altar, they have kept your murti. They have kept your murti in the altar. And Swamiji, according to Pancharatrika Vidhi, Acharya's murti should never be kept on the altar when he is alive. Now he was teaching Prabhupada. So he said, according to Pancharatrika Vidhi, an Acharya's murti should never be kept on the altar when he is alive. And he continued by saying, Swamiji, I feel that you are ill because when an Acharya's murti is kept in the altar when he is alive, he takes the suffering of all the devotees. Now this is Shastrik. He takes the suffering of all his disciples and all the devotees. So I feel that you can tell your disciples that take the murti out from the altar, and once you have departed this world, once you have gone back to Krishna, then they can maybe keep it. Now he was saying this to Prabhupada as if Prabhupada didn't know it. Prabhupada knows everything. He who has preached in every town and village, Prithivite ache jodi nogaradi gram sarvatra prachar hoy be mora naam, he also knows Pancharatrika Vidhi. So Prabhupada said, yes, I know. And Prabhupada didn't say anything ahead. So now he thought maybe Prabhupada has not fully understood. So he tried part 2. So he said, Swamiji, Vrindavan, your Murti. He thought maybe Prabhupada has a little hearing problem. So now through actions. He said, in Vrindavan you have a Murti and they're doing your puja and you're alive. So I think it should be taken. And Srila Prabhupada closed his eyes and became very grave. And Srila Prabhupada said, I know my Murti is kept. And I have come to this world to take the sufferings of all the jivas. Because till the time sins are there, the jivas cannot do bhakti. So I have come here as a compassionate associate, a representative of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to take all their sufferings so that they can become purified and chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So the next time we go to the temple and we see Prabhupada's Murti, let us be 100% convinced Prabhupada is sitting there. It's not just a Murti. Prabhupada is actually there. He's actually there and hearing our prayers, ready to uplift and benefit all of us. So just like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is compassionate, Srila Prabhupada carried this same mood. And we find in this world, when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared, he appeared during lunar eclipse. Now, eclipse socially is not considered very auspicious because most times we find during eclipse we stay at home, indoors. An eclipse is done, maybe we do an oil bath or just a normal bath. So it's quote unquote not considered very auspicious. Now question arises, why is the Supreme Lord appearing during a time which is socially not considered auspicious? He could have chosen any time. Why come in a time which is socially not auspicious? Well, one understanding is whenever the Lord appears, that time becomes auspicious. Krishna appeared in the jail, that became auspicious. That's one understanding. But here there's a deeper meaning in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appears during lunar eclipse. Lunar eclipse is also called as Chandra Grahan. What is it called? Chandra Grahan. Grahan basically in Sanskrit means to accept. And Chandra here stands for Chandramukhi Sri Radha. So Chandra Grahan basically means Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by his appearance is showing the world that I have come to accept Grahan, the mood, the complexion, the sentiments of Chandramukhi Sri Radha. He could have come in any time, but he chooses Chandra Grahan to show the world that right from my appearance, the purpose of my descent is Chandra Grahan. To accept Chandramukhi Sri Radha's sentiments, her complexion, and her mood. Spreading the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is secondary. But tasting Srimati Radharani's mood is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's primary mission. And while he is doing that, while he's constantly tasting the mood, he's so busy in Gambhira, tasting the mood of Radharani that who will preach? Now he's constantly just tasting. You need someone to preach also. That preaching activity is done by Nityananda Prabhu. Prema rasa niryas korite aswadan rag marga bhakti loke korite pracharan. Mahaprabhu is coming down. Prema rasa niryas korite aswadan, to taste the love, the loving sentiments of the Brajavasis. But now he is busy, so busy tasting the fruit that he's forgotten to give it to others. So Nityananda Prabhu takes it upon himself. My dear Lord, you taste, I will go house to house. I will go door to door. And Nityananda Prabhu would go with Haridas Thakur. They would go house to house and they would knock. They would knock and people would open. Now some people would be receptive, while some would get so angry that they would pick up pebbles and they would throw. And Nityananda Prabhu is Balaram, so he would run fast, but Haridas Thakur would be left behind. So Haridas Thakur would say, you knock the door, you take me there, and now when they throw a stone, you run away, but I am left behind. I am left behind, you take care of me also. Now Haridas Thakur was standing all day, so he was very thin. Nityananda Prabhu would run, but Haridas Thakur, poor, would be left behind. So the preaching activity, giving out to others, was the main work of Sri Nityananda Prabhu. One time Prabhupada was there in Los Angeles temple and Kirtan was going on. Tumultuous, loud Harinam Sankirtan. And Prabhupada was just swaying around, just smiling. The disciples saw and they were thinking, oh, what is Prabhupada experiencing? What is the Bhaktivedanta purport? They were thinking, what is Prabhupada experiencing? So they went to Prabhupada and said, Srila Prabhupada, we see you're smiling. What happened? Srila Prabhupada said, I am smiling because Narad Muni is smiling. So disciples did not understand. They had a question mark, just like we have a question mark on our face. Where did Narad Muni come from? In Los Angeles temple. So they said, Prabhupada, Narad Muni? Prabhupada said, yes, you didn't see Narad Muni? I said, no, we didn't see Narad Muni. Srila Prabhupada said, yes, Narad Muni was here. And Narad Muni was smiling. So the disciples said, follow-up question, why is Narad Muni smiling? It started with Prabhupada smiling. Now why is Narad Muni smiling? Srila Prabhupada said, Narad Muni is smiling to see all the disciples, white-bodied and Indians, all of them coming together, embracing and loudly chanting, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram. That prediction of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that one day will arise where the whole world will unite on the power of Harinam. Narad Muni is now seeing that. And seeing the prediction of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu come true, Narad Muni is very happy. And seeing him happy, I am very happy. The disciple said, wonderful. Prabhupada was such a personality, he would experience things which normal people cannot perceive. So that Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Nityananda Prabhu was going house to house and giving it to everyone. Sometimes, most often we find we try to use our logic. That why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu didn't do it? Why Gadadhar Pandit didn't do it? Why Haridas Thakur was simply sitting and chanting? Why he didn't preach? Sometimes we try to understand through logic. One time, one logician, he went to a farmer. One logician went to a farmer, and this farmer had a bull. And this bull had a bell on the neck. So the logician said, oh, why do you have a bell on the neck? This farmer said, because whenever the bull walks, it will make sound. And whenever I hear, I know the bull is working. It is making sound. So now the logician said, now I have a question for you. What if the bull is just standing and moving his head? What if he's just standing and moving his head? You will be fooled. The farmer said, he is a bull, not a logician like you. He is a bull, not a logician like you. He will not do that. So sometimes we use so much of our logic, it just fails. But Nityananda Prabhu is coming down to this world to help Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the preaching mission. And till the time we don't have love and attachment to Nityananda Prabhu, we don't get Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Kindly please repeat. Se tahare priti kare, se kare amare, satya 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 vipra, kohila tumare. Se tumare priti kare, se kare amare, satya 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 vipra, kohila tumare. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Chaitanya Bhagavad tells a Brahmana. There was one Brahmana who bypassed Nityananda Prabhu and went to meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Like our Raghunath Das Goswami, the whole pastime of Pani Hatti. So this Brahmana bypasses Nityananda Prabhu and goes to meet Gauranga Mahaprabhu. So Mahaprabhu tells them this verse. Se tahare priti kare, se kare amare. Only those who have priti for Nityananda Prabhu can rightfully say that they have got my mercy. Only if you love Nityananda Prabhu will you get my mercy. Only if you offer your obeisance to Nityananda Prabhu will you get my mercy. Without respecting Nitai, no one gets Chaitanya. He no Nitai bine bhai, Radha Krishna pahite nai. He no Nitai bine bhai, Radha Krishna pahite nai. He no Nitai bine bhai, Radha Krishna pahite nai. No one gets Radha and Krishna without Nityananda Prabhu. So, worshipping Nityananda Prabhu is very, very essential. In fact, we find before Prabhupada, during Saraswati Thakur's time, you always had Gaur Gadadhar. Even now, you see the Gaudiya Math, you will have Gaur Gadadhar. Or you will have Radha Krishna and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This genius idea of getting Nityananda Prabhu on the altar was Srila Prabhupada's. No one had ever done that. But Prabhupada understood कि कलयुग के जीव है. अरे ये कहाँ, ये कलयुग के जीव है. And they need Nityananda Prabhu's mercy the most. So it was his idea of getting Sri Nityananda Prabhu, Sri Nityananda Ram on the altar. So we are making this point that till the time we don't have Preeti towards Sri Nityananda Prabhu, we don't get Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. One time, a personality by the name Miniketan Ramdas. What's the name? Miniketan Ramdas. Miniketan Ramdas was invited to the house of Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami at Jamatpur for an all-night kirtan. There was an all-night kirtan at Kaviraj Goswami's home, Jagran. And Miniketan Ramdas was invited. Now, Miniketan Ramdas is a follower of Nityananda Prabhu, very attached to Sri Nityananda Prabhu. So now he came there, and as he was there, he was loudly chanting the name of Nityananda Prabhu. And in that assembly was a pujari who was worshipping the deities by the name Gurnarnava Mishra. What is the name? Whose house the program is going on? Aditya Prabhu's house, correct? Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. Who is the personality coming? Miniketan Ramdas. Who is doing pujari? Gunarnama Mishra. Yes. Okay, everyone is attentive. So Miniketan Ramdas comes. Dear associate of Nityananda Prabhu, and starts chanting the name of Nitai. Jumps and starts chanting the name of Nitai. Now Gunarnava Mishra is a Kanishta Adhikari. Shastra explains. What is the characteristic of Kanishta? Sees Krishna only in the deity, but is convinced that Krishna is not there in the heart. That's why he will go around criticizing. Don't look at the devotee sitting next to you. It is, this litmus test is for us. He will see Krishna in the deity. He is convinced that Krishna is there in the deity. But he is convinced that Krishna is not there in the heart of others. And that's why he will coolly criticize and blaspheme devotees. So this is a classic characteristic of a Kanishta. So Gunarnama Mishra is a Kanishta doing pujari service. And now behind Miniketan Ramdas is jumping and dancing and chanting Nitai, Nitai, Nitai. But Gunarnama Mishra doesn't say anything. He at least followed Vacho Vegam. He didn't say anything. He controlled his speech. And Miniketan Ramdas understood that Gunarnama Mishra has some doubts. So Miniketan Ramdas, in a very sarcastic way, started pulling the leg of Gunarnama Mishra. That, oh, you are just doing deity worship. But here Nitai Parshad is there. Nitai's associate is here and you're not seeing me, you're not worshipping me. What is the use of your puja? Like Hindi mein bolta chabi lagana. He was trying his best. But Gunarnama Mishra didn't say anything. He was just keeping quiet. Now, as this was going on, middle of the night, there is a fight between Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami's brother and Miniketan Ramdas. Very interesting. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, who is the author of Chaitanya Charitamrita, who has deep attachment to Gauranga and Nityananda, his brother had no respect for Nityananda Prabhu. Kaviraj Goswami's brother had no respect for Nitai. So naturally, when you don't have respect for Nitai, how will you have respect for his associate? So he saw Miniketan Ramdas, but he couldn't control his tongue like Gunarnama Mishra. So he started blaspheming and criticizing Miniketan Ramdas. And now this went back and forth. And Kaviraj Goswami is thinking, he is my brother. And he is criticizing Nityananda Prabhu. He is criticizing Miniketan Ramdas. What is going on? And Kaviraj Goswami became so upset. And Miniketan Ramdas became so upset that he just stormed. Middle of the night, he just stormed. That place where my Nita is not worshipped. What is the use of being there? Miniketan Ramdas worships. Kaviraj Goswami disowns his brother. Why should I have such a brother who is not worshipping Nityananda Prabhu? And in that night, Nityananda Prabhu comes in the dream of Miniketan Ramdas and in the dream of Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. Comes in the dream of Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami and requests him and instructs him, Tumi jao Vrindavan. Go to Vrindavan Dham. Because there's no point staying here. So till the time we don't have attachment and respect and love for Nityananda Prabhu, love for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is a far-fetched reality. It's a far-fetched reality. The purpose of the advent of Gaur and Nitai is one thing. Yes, giving out Harinam, but through Harinam, Gauranga and Nityananda want to give this mood of Vrindavan Dham. Aradhyo Bhagavan Brajesh Tanayas Tadhama Vrindavanam Ramya Kajitupasanam Brajavadum Vargenaya Kalpita Srimad Bhagavatam Puranam Amalam Prema Pumartho Mahan Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhur Matamidam Tatradharana Para. Aradhyo Bhagavan Brajesh Tanayas. Whom do we worship? Vrindavan Krishna. And what is the land very dear to our heart? Vrindavan Dham. Shri Vrindavan Dham ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham is very dear to Gaudiyas. Very, very dear to the heart of Gaudiyas. This land of Vrindavan is so special. Our Acharyas, they give this example that just like you have a wife or you have a lady who's married to a person. Now the wife has a husband and the husband has a few brothers. Correct? The husband has a few brothers. The wife will respect the brothers but will love only the husband. Her love is 100%, 100% only for the husband, but she will respect the brothers. Similarly, Vrindavan Dham is our husband. And all other dhams are like the brothers of that husband. Vrindavan, Mayapur and Jagannath Puri are our husband. We are chaste and we are 100% loyal to Vrindavan Dham. While all other dhams, like Pandharpur Dham, Ayodhya Dham, they are like the brothers. As Gaudiyas, our heart, our soul, our aspiration, our desire is Sri Vrindavan Dham. Because that is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is coming down to give. And this Vrindavan Dham is so special. Whenever Krishna comes down to perform pastimes, he performs only in Vrindavan Dham. Krishna doesn't come down to perform pastimes in Keri. No performing pastimes in Apex, this Apex, New Hill. Well, he does perform pastimes in New Hill, Govardhan Hill, but maybe not in this hill. Srila Prabodhananda Saraswati also, he writes Vrindavan Mahimamrita. He doesn't write Mumbai Mahimamrita. He doesn't write Delhi Mahimamrita. He doesn't write Seattle Mahimamrita. North Carolina Mahimamrita. Vrindavan Mahimamrita. There is something about this land which is intoxicating. How many of us have felt that the moment we go to Vrindavan Dham, our rounds start increasing? How many of us have felt that the moment I go to Vrindavan, Radhanam is constantly there on my tongue? You see, even the auto rickshaw people, they will not have horn. When they are in Loi Bazaar, Radhe, 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 Radhe. And even during discussions, their expressions will be so interesting. If you see a Brajavasi when they speak, if they're very angry, they will say, Radhe. If they're surprised, Radhe. If it's some other expression, Radhe, question mark, Radhe. Radhanam is there so much on the tongue that they can express things with that. If they are happy, laughing, Radhe. Through Radhanam, they express everything. The land is such that Radharani's name is always there on the tongue. Whenever Krishna comes down, he performs pastime only in Vrindavan Dham. This earth planet is the only planet that has Vrindavan Dham in it. You don't have Vrindavan in Jupiter, no Vrindavan in Neptune, no Vrindavan in Mercury, no Vrindavan in Mars, no Vrindavan in Pluto, if you consider it a planet. There's no Vrindavan in any of those planets except Earth planet. Earth planet is the only planet in this universe which has Vrindavan in it. And that is the place where Krishna comes and performs pastimes. And dear devotees, we are so fortunate that we have all been to the land of Vrindavan. If not been to the land of Vrindavan, at least heard about Vrindavan. There are so many around who have not even heard the name Vrindavan. And if you are from India, it's even more fortunate because there is no visa problems. With an Indian passport, you can anytime go. So that's added fortune. We have Prabhupada's very dear disciple, Srila Indra Prabhu. Srila Indra Prabhu was from America, Arlington, Virginia. And he was so transcendently intoxicated. In fact, intoxicated is an understatement. Understatement. He was so intoxicated with this land of Vrindavan Dham that one time Indra Prabhu was going to Delhi for a recording. He was going there for a recording. So while he was going there, he was there in the car and the driver was driving. And midway, while they were there in the car, Indra Prabhu asked the driver to stop. Middle of the highway. So this driver said, what happened? It's middle of the highway. It can be dangerous. Of course, in India, anything works. You can stop the car middle of the highway. If you don't have an indicator, you can show your hand and take a left. India, everything works. You can get a car license by giving 100 rupees. If a police catches you, I don't know other place, at least in Mumbai, I know. If a traffic cop catches you, you can pay 100 rupees and tell him not to give a challan. So challan is the ticket that he gives. So ticket maybe suppose 500 rupees. So you can bribe him by saying, let me do one thing, I'll not give 500, I will just give 100. And that 100 will go in your pocket. You're also happy, I am also happy. Of course, this is experiential. Those who have experience will know what I'm talking about. Right now it is Gyan. For me it is Vigyan. Oh, Vigyan, yes. You pay 100 rupees and no challan. India mein sab kuch chalta hai. Everything happens. No rules, no regulations. You will, in fact, in Vrindavan, you will find near the Prem Mandir, Chattikara Marg, you will find bikes driving even in the opposite direction. And they will be completely cool about it. I was once with my godbrother. He's from Sarasota, Florida. And that was the first time he came to Vrindavan. It was Janmashtami time. Now, you know, Janmashtami Vrindavan is, my goodness, so crowded. So crowded. In fact, this time also, Karthik was so crowded. It's almost like the 2 years people didn't come and all of them just came to Braj. So we were there Janmashtami time and that was his first visit. And while we were walking in the sidewalk from the opposite side, a bike fellow comes. He's driving in the sidewalk. Now, you don't see this in America. And that was a culture shock for him. Like he had not seen. He was traumatized. And he looked at that bike fellow and said, this is meant for the pedestrians. You're not supposed to drive here. And he was a UP guy who didn't even know English. He looked behind, Radhe. As if it didn't matter to him. He kept driving. Vrindavan is a place where logic doesn't work, only love works. Love supersedes and topples everything. So back to Indra Prabhu. Whenever you speak about Vrindavan, how can you keep the Brajavasis out? So Sripad Indra Prabhu was going to Delhi and he asked the driver to stop the car. And he lowered the glass. And there was a mosquito in the car. So he made the mosquito fly out. Now this driver was confused. Why are you asking me to stop? Even otherwise, when the car is moving, I can lower the glass and the mosquito can go out. Sripad Indra Prabhu said something which is unimaginable. Sripad Indra Prabhu said, this mosquito has been there with us right from Krishna Balaram Mandir, which means this mosquito is a Brajavasi. Now we are on the outskirts of Vrindavan and we are entering Delhi. Now if I don't lower the glass, I will incur the sin of taking a Brajavasi outside of Vrindavan. A mosquito is also a Brajavasi. And if I take a Brajavasi outside of Vrindavan, how will Radharani ever accept me? My goodness, when I heard it, I was like amazed. Many times we may see devotees and we may not completely accept whether they're Brajavasi or not. And here is Srila Prabhupada's dear disciple, seeing even a mosquito as a Brajavasi. It doesn't end there. His love and Preeti. Preeti na yavat mai Vasudeve. Till the time there is no Preeti, we don't get Vasudev Krishna. He had so much attachment to Vrindavan Dham. He went to Yamuna, took out his American passport, threw it in the Yamuna. Ayendra Prabhu took his American passport and threw it in the Yamuna. Please don't try it at home. These are performed by professionals. Many of us have been waiting for maybe 10, 15, 20 years priority date, and now finally you get a green card and citizenship. Huh? And throw in Yamuna. Only someone like him can do it. So when he was asked, just imagine, dear devotees, if you pause and think, you have an American passport. People die for an American citizenship. People literally die for an American citizenship. Ayendra Prabhu takes an American passport and throws it. And when he was asked, Ayendra Prabhu said, this is Radharani's land. What can any government do? This is Radhika's land. And if she wants me to stay here, no government can kick me out. And reality, no government was able to kick him out. 24 years living in Vrindavan Dham, not leaving and going anywhere. He would cry. When he had to leave Vrindavan Dham, he would cry. Sripad Ayendra Prabhu would say, while leaving Vrindavan Dham and coming back to North Carolina, while leaving Vrindavan Dham, if you don't have tears, I am sorry, Prabhu, you were never in Vrindavan. Ayendra Prabhu would say. While leaving Vrindavan, if you don't have tears, I'm sorry, Prabhu, you were never in touch. This land is very, very special, dear devotees. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is coming down to give this land of Vrindavan through the chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Chiradadatam nijagupta vittam swaprema namamritavatya udara apamaram yo vidadata gaura krishno janebhyastam aham prapadya. Swa namamritam atya udara. Bhagavan bahut udar hai. He is very compassionate, Kaviraj Goswami says. And through the nectar of this holy name, he is coming down to give the mood of the Brajavasis. The goal of the Gaudiyas is streamlined, very simple, to become Brajavasi. What do we sing in the morning? Namo Nama Tulase Krishna Prayase Namo Nama Radha Krishna Seva Pao E Abhilasi Radha Krishna Seva Pao E Abhilasi Moro E Abhilas Kilas Dedio Vas Noyane Haribo Sada Yoga Ek Mashada Loet Kripa Gori Karo Tare Vrinda E Nivedana Daro Sakita Rukana Koro Devadi Karo Dieko Sina Krishna Dase Goe Shirada Govinda Vrinda. Every line is just how I can attend Vrindavan Dham. Mora E Abhilash Vilas Kunje Diovas. We are telling Brinda Devi, what is our desire? Mora E Abhilash, Vilas Kunje. Kunjas are not there in Dwaraka. Kunjas are not there in Mathura. Kunjas means Braj. We have three types of Kunja. Kunja, Nikunja, Nivrita Nikunja. Rupa Goswami explains. Like you have good, better, best. Confidential pastimes, more confidential pastimes, most confidential pastimes. If you go to Vrindavan, near Kusum Sarovar, there is Shamvan. And Shamvan, if you go inside, if you go with the Brajavasi, if you go alone, it's very difficult. If you go with the Brajavasi, inside is a Kunj, which is Nivrita Nikunj, Rupa Goswami says. So next time, if you have not been there, please mark it. Near Kusum Sarovar, there is Shamvan, which is a Nivrita Nikunj. So Mora E Abhilash, Vilas Kunje Diovas. I am begging, O Brinda Devi, that may I get residence and shelter in the Kunjas. Mora E Abhilash, Vilas Kunje Diovas. Nayane Heribo Sada, Jugalur Uparasi. And with my eyes, what do I want to see? Bollywood movies, correct? What do I want to say? Shri Shri Radha Golokananda ki. Ecstasy is permeating. So that is our desire. So Vrinda Devi is saying, you are saying you want to live in the Kunj, you are saying you want to see Radha Krishna. Hey, are you ordering me? Are you giving me an order? No. Hey, Nivedana karo. I am begging you. Who am I to order? Hey, Nivedana karo. What is the Nivedan? Hey, Nivedana daro sakhe anugata karo. I want to walk behind the Sakhis of Vrindavan. Is this Dwaraka? No. Is this Mathura? No. This is Braj. We sing it in the morning. Anugata, to walk behind. Lalita Sakhi walks behind Radharani. That is why one name of Lalita Sakhi is Anuradha. What is the name? Anuradha. She who walks behind Shri Radha. Anuradha. So all the verses we find is Braj. Like in Braj Bhasha, there is a very beautiful song that is sing. ब्रज त्यज के मैं कहीं नहीं जाऊं, रसिक संतन के दर्शन पाऊं, जग से प्रीति हटाई, राधा नाम परम सुखदाई. What does it mean? For those who know Hindi, is self-explanatory, but nonetheless, our Acharya has explained that jag se priti hatai, that I have now lost taste in this world. What is more attracting for me? Radha Nam Paramasukadai. The name of Radharani is most attractive. Srila Rupa Goswami says, this name of the Supreme Lord, Radha and Krishna, is so intoxicating. Tunde Tandivinim Ratim Vitanute Tundavali Labdaye Karna Krodha Kadam Bini Ghatayate. Rupa Goswami says, when these two syllables, Krishna, 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 Radha, 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 Gaura, Nitai, Nitai, Nitai. Goswami says, Tunde Tandivinim Ratim Vitanute Tavali Labdhaye. When these two names, Krishna and Radha, enter my ear, my dear Lord, I beg that let me have millions of ears. And now when these names enter the ear and go into the heart, I wish that I have millions of hearts. And as these names enter my ear and intoxicates me, I wish and pray that I am always intoxicated like this. Hare Krishna. We also chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. How many of us have this ecstasy that Rupa Goswami is having? It's not that the Mahamantra is not potent. Problem is in our chanting. Sometimes you see chanting also, different devotees have different styles of chanting. Many times you find devotees like, and sometimes only the last will be loud. Even Krishna is thinking, "Are tu kisko bula raha hai?" It's almost like a snake is thinking. Krishna will be thinking, if you chant properly, you will come to Golok Dham. But if this is the way you keep hissing like a snake, you go to Sarpaloka. Ghatan ho jayega, patan ho jayega. And many times you find pronunciation is very important in Sanskrit. Of course, Krishna is kind, he is Bhavagrahi. But many times instead of Hare Krishna, we say Hare Krishna. When it's fast, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. No, this is very dangerous. You know why? Because in Sanskrit, Ari means a demon or an enemy. So Hare Krishna means, oh enemy Krishna, Hare Krishna, oh enemy Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So tomorrow morning when we sit for chanting, let it be Hare Krishna and not Hare Krishna, because Hari means demon or an enemy. Like we have Hari becomes Hare. So it's the vocative case in Sanskrit when you have to call out to someone. Radha, Radhe. Likewise, Hari, Hare. Hare Krishna means, oh enemy Krishna, oh enemy Krishna. Krishna is thinking you're initiated, Brahmanically initiated. You come to the temple and offer puja, and now behind everyone you're calling a demon. Interesting bhakti. So pronunciation is very important. So fundamentally, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is coming down to give this mood of Vrindavan Dham, and we are very, very fortunate. Through the parampara, through Prabhupada, through our Gurudev, we have got entrance to Braj. Till the time Srimati Radharani doesn't approve, till the time Vrinda Devi doesn't approve, till the time Purnamasi Devi doesn't approve, till the time Giriraj doesn't approve, till the time Gopeshwar doesn't approve, and till the time Raj does not approve, no one gets to Vrindavan Dham. It's not through our dollars. It's not that, oh, I can book a Lufthansa and I can go. To Vrindavan, it's only Radharani for recommendation. For getting initiation in our movement, we need disciples course and one recommendation. To go to Vrindavan Dham, we need 5 recommendations. Not 1, 5 recommendations. So how important it is to get the mercy or the merciful glance of these personalities. Raj is very powerful. Very, very powerful. In Sanskrit, there is a saying, Vishasya Visham Aushadam. When someone has poison, traditionally, to remove that poison, another poison is given. One poison acts as a medicine to remove the existing poison. Vishasya Visham Aushadam. Likewise, all of us are filled with Rajogun. एक रज निकलने के लिए दूसरा रज अंदर जाता है. Raj goes inside and ends up removing the Rajogun. Vishasya Visham Aushadam. Raj is very powerful. When Akrura came to Vrindavan Dham, he was rolling in Braj, seeing the lotus feet of Krishna. So my worshipable spiritual master always says, whenever we enter Vrindavan Dham, first thing we should stop our car and get down and offer obeisances, because Akrura did that. Even if it is concrete, it is Vrindavan Dham, it is Chintamani Dham. We shouldn't wait till the time I go to my room, take a bath, take a shower, wear nice fancy dhoti kurta, and now I will offer obeisances. No. Jaise hai vaisi, as it is. Yatharup, offering obeisances to this land of Vrindavan Dham. But oftentimes we find, dear devotees, last few minutes, oftentimes we find, as we are there on this path of Krishna consciousness, yes, it is very easy to say. Yes, it is very easy to say that we have to chant 16 rounds, follow 4 regulative principles, go to Vrindavan Dham, get inspired, etc. It's very easy to say, but all of us know how difficult it is to put to practice every single day. How enthused we have to be every single day. I was in New Vrindavan last year for the Memorial Day weekend. And New Vrindavan is filled with a lot of Prabhupada disciples. And they told me a story which was so amazing, so fascinating. And I want to share that story and end this journey of mine in North Carolina. Are we all there? Yeah. Srila Prabhupada ki? Yeah. Pause my journey. Okay. I take back. I pause my journey after the story. They were saying, very beautiful. Dear devotees, till the time if we have slept, okay. But now just be awake. It's a very interesting story. Srila Prabhupada came to America 17th of September 1965, Boston Harbor, Commonwealth Pier. And as the Jaladuta came to Commonwealth Pier, Boston Harbor, the next day the Jaladuta was again going back to India. Next day it was again going back to India. And as Prabhupada came, generally there is a tradition that when 2 ships pass by, the captain comes on the deck and he just waves, just to indicate that, Hare Krishna. He's indicating. So when Jaladuta was going on, when it was reaching Boston Harbor, from the opposite side, another ship was also coming. Now, interestingly, Captain Pandya was inside and Prabhupada was there on the deck. And from the opposite side, another ship was coming. And in that ship, the captain was standing on the deck. So now he looked at Prabhupada and he thought Prabhupada is the captain. He was surprised that seems like very old captain. For a long journey, very old captain. So he looked at Prabhupada and started waving. Prabhupada thought he's doing Gaurita, Hari Bol. So Prabhupada also started doing Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Even before reaching Boston, preaching already started. Now, as Prabhupada reached Boston Harbor, another Jaladuta was, when the Jaladuta was again going back, two boys hopped onto that ship, 18-year-olds. Two 18-year-olds hopped on. Keith and Howard. Two boys hop on. Why? In search of God. Bhagavan chahiye. You don't find that in the present day. Seldom do you find a youth coming to us and saying, I want God. Bhagavan chahiye. They may want an iPhone. Or they may want a bike. Seldom do we find they say they want Bhagavan. Very rare. It's only these special personalities like the disciples of Prabhupada who demonstrated something that was never seen. One Gaudiya Vaishnava Acharya was saying, very emphatically he said, and while he was saying, he had tears in his eyes. He said, never in the history of Gaudiya Sampradaya or any Sampradaya did anyone see this level of Guru Nishtha for their Guru Maharaj. Referring to disciples of Prabhupada. That this level of Guru Nishtha was never seen in any Sampradaya. Ready to give up family life, ready to give up jobs, ready to give up all possessions and come and serve Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada, one time when he was asked, he said, preaching in America was very easy. Sure. Prabhupada said, because when I came to America, everyone was already hippie. They had already given up everything and they were living on the streets. They had already done Sarva Dharman Parityaja. I had to just go and give Maam Ekam Sharanam Braja. Already Sarva Dharman karke baithe the. I had to just give Maam Ekam Sharanam Braja. So Prabhupada said, America preaching was easy. Of course, that is Prabhupada's humility. We know how difficult it is to make 1% devotee, whether Indian or American. I know in our Seattle temple, we have been having so many Western outreach programs and so many other things, but so challenging to get the locals. And my goodness, Prabhupada did that at the age of 70 effortlessly, writing books, translating, morning walks, initiating disciples, and so many other activities. So these two boys, what are their names? Keith and Advaita Chandra. Howard. Keith and Howard, they hopped onto that ship. Now they are going to India. Why? To find a guru. They stay in India for 1 year, but they don't find a guru. All that they find is kangaroo. They find dongi, not bona fide gurus, wanting money. That guru who is not giving Krishna, but is only wanting behind money, he is not a guru, he is an animal, he is a kangaroo. He keeps a can ahead and is asking for money, kangaroo. So these two boys come there. 1 year they stay, don't find any guru. And so much so that they fall ill. Because if you're not accustomed to the Indian climate, Indian food, oil, etc., invariably first time you will fall ill. You will get that Mahaprasada falling ill. Diarrhea or whatever it is. So these two boys fell ill. And 1 year it was very difficult, jaundice and so many other things. And after 1 year they thought, enough. Time to go back. We didn't find any guru, let's go back. So they go back to New York again, Manhattan. And now while they're walking the street of Manhattan, opposite side, Prabhupada is walking in the sidewalk. And fortunately, you don't have scooters in sidewalk there at least. Unlike Vrindavan Dham, where even in the sidewalk you will have scooters. So they're walking the street and opposite side they see Srila Prabhupada. And both of them, they cross the street. And they go to Prabhupada and say, Swamiji, are you from India? Prabhupada said, yes. A typical Prabhupada, yes. And then they said, are you a guru? Prabhupada said, yes. So these two boys said, we have been searching for guru for 1 year. We left this place to go to India because we thought in the east we will get bhakti. Now we are getting guru in front of us. So as Prabhupada was conversing, Prabhupada made his point that Monday, Wednesday, Friday, there is Bhagavad Gita classes, 26 2nd Avenue. So these boys said, yes, we will come. Prabhupada said, not like this. Prabhupada held their hand and took them to 26 2nd Avenue. Because Prabhupada said, you will say yes now, but what if tomorrow you don't know the address? No GPS, no Alexa, no Siri. So Prabhupada held their hand and took them to 26th Avenue so that tomorrow you know where you have to come. Next day, Prabhupada gave Bhagavad Gita class and these boys came. These boys came and the class was done. And after class was done, Prabhupada was speaking to these boys and he asked Howard, my dear Howard, what do you do? So Howard said, I have a master's in English language. Prabhupada's eyes lit up. Prabhupada said, what? You have master's in English? Can you help me? So Howard said, how can I help you? Prabhupada opened a full trunk, full manuscript. Join करके एक दिन में नहीं हुआ. Imagine you join Krishna consciousness movement and less than 24 hours you are asked to proofread and edit a full trunk. Prabhupada didn't waste time. Cut to the chase. He opened the whole trunk and said, I need someone to proofread and edit the English. Because Prabhupada was proficient in Sanskrit, but he wanted a local who's good in English who can make the changes wherever grammar is required. So Howard saw this, started scratching his head and said, Swamiji, I think let's do one thing. I will keep coming and then we will see. Because I don't know what the content is. Prabhupada said, I will teach you content. You just help me. So Howard said, I think we'll take it a little slow. So Prabhupada didn't force. He said, okay. They kept coming. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, they kept coming. And after about good 1 month, Prabhupada again opened the trunk. Now that you know the content, now you want to try? So Howard said, okay. And eventually you find Prabhupada initiated both these boys. And Keith became Kirtanananda. Prabhupada, in the initial days we find, because Kirtananda Maharaj would help Prabhupada in cooking. Prabhupada many times hilariously would call him Kitchenananda. He who likes kitchen very much, Kitchenananda. Keith became Kirtanananda and Howard became Hayagriva. Kirtanananda and Hayagriva. And now Prabhupada made Hayagriva Prabhu the first editor in ISKCON. Because he was studied English language, masters in English. So Prabhupada said, you will be the first editor. And now Hayagriva Prabhu starts translating, starts editing, proofreading. And this went on for some time. But dear devotees, past temptations are such that they come like a forest fire and devour us completely. All of us would have experienced, even after joining Krishna consciousness, these past temptations don't go. Little we hear a Hare Krishna Mahamantra, which is a Bollywood melody, the Bollywood song comes in our mind. Right? It happens for all of us. Mahamantra goes in the background, that Bollywood song comes. And then during dancing kirtan, that Bollywood movie's Bollywood step also comes. You know what I'm talking about. Past temptations don't go. It's like a forest fire that comes and destroys and devours us completely. And same happened with Hayagriva Prabhu. These past temptations came like a forest fire and they completely devoured him and he left. When Prabhupada heard this, Prabhupada had a tear in his eye. What? My Hayagriva left? Prabhupada invested so much time and energy. Because these books, Prabhupada said, are the law books for the next 10,000 years. So he invested a lot of time and energy in Hayagriva Prabhu. Now imagine he left the movement. How painful it is. But Prabhupada never forgot Hayagriva Prabhu. When Prabhupada was there in Hawaii, Prabhupada got to know that Hayagriva Prabhu is there in the area. So he told Tamal Krishna Maharaj to get him. And now when Hayagriva Prabhu came, gone was the shaven head. Gone was the shika, gone was the dhoti, gone was the kurta. Now he had a big beard, complete full-grown hair, t-shirt, pant, karmi clothes. And he came in front of Prabhupada. The personality had completely changed. And when he saw Prabhupada, he couldn't control. And tears just started flowing. And he fell at the feet of Prabhupada. Please forgive me. Prabhupada didn't even say anything. But just looking at Prabhupada, all the past memories came as to how Prabhupada helped and provided for him. And he just fell at the feet that, my dear Prabhupada, please forgive me. And Prabhupada said, no problem, don't worry. Prabhupada was always encouraging. Prabhupada was always encouraging like Mahaprabhu, always ready to accept and embrace everyone. So Hayagriva Prabhu said, Srila Prabhupada, I want to serve you. Is there some service that I can do? And Prabhupada said, same service that you were doing earlier, editing my books. So Hayagriva said, Prabhupada, I had been away from the movement. Even following 4 regulative principles was a challenge, and your books are going to be the law books. So many people are going to read. How can I edit? Srila Prabhupada said, no, you be around me, you be around Tamal Krishna Maharaj, Satswarup Maharaj, Jayadvaita Maharaj, they will teach you. Now it was a little difficult for Hayagriva Prabhu because Tamal Krishna Maharaj and others had come after Hayagriva Prabhu. And now they were sannyasis. And here Hayagriva Prabhu was finding it difficult even to hold on to the 4 regulative principles. You can imagine what will go on through his mind. But Prabhupada again encouraged him. And again he became the editor. Again he started editing under the guidance of Tamal Krishna Maharaj and Satswarup Maharaj and Jayadvaita Maharaj and of course Srila Prabhupada. It was later in 1969 when he found a new Vrindavan property, which we were discussing earlier, and how Prabhupada transcendentally tricked him. How Prabhupada transcendently tricked him and made him the temple president. I wouldn't get back again to that. So Srila Prabhupada makes him the temple president, and here is Hayagriva Prabhu again editing. But what to do, dear devotees? These past temptations keep coming back. The reason we are discussing this is our story. For us also, we keep hearing katha. We are there with devotees, but these past temptations are such, they don't go away. And they're like haunting and devouring us constantly. Part 2, these forest fire temptations came back. The life that he was living pre-KC. And again, Hayagriva Prabhu left. And Prabhupada was feeling so bad that why is my Hayagriva leaving again and again? So much so that when Prabhupada in 1977 left this world, Hayagriva Prabhu was not even around. He was not even to be seen. No one had any idea where Hayagriva Prabhu was. 1972, when Prabhupada came with his disciples to Vrindavan, the famous Vrindavan Yatra, Hayagriva Prabhu was there in that. This is a side point. If you go to ISKCON Desiratory, there is a series of lectures that Prabhupada gave on Nectar of Devotion, 1972, Radha Damodar Mandir. Must hear, in capitals. Srila Prabhupada speaks many of the things that perhaps we are looking out for. Prabhupada speaks about Rag Bhakti. He speaks about Madhuri Ras. He speaks about Ragatmika. He speaks about Raganuga. Many times people criticize Prabhupada by saying, oh, Prabhupada didn't say it. Well, if we hear the 1972 classes, Prabhupada, like a volcano, explodes completely and gives everything that the heart is looking out for. So must hear if we have not heard. 1972, ISKCON Desiratory, Radha Damodar Courtyard classes, Nectar of Devotion. Hayagriva Prabhu was there in that assembly also. After that, again disappears. For next 17 years, no one had any idea where Hayagriva Prabhu was. Completely gayab, vanished. 1989, Srinathji Prabhu, Dr. N.D. Desai, he gets to know that Hayagriva Prabhu is there in the beach, in the shore of Goa. So he goes from Radha Gopinath Chowpatty, he goes to Goa. And when he goes there, you see during rainy seasons, the boats are kept upside down so that water should not accumulate. Underneath one of those boats, Hayagriva Prabhu was in a semicircular back. He was lying down. When Dr. N.D. Desai, Srinathji Prabhu saw this, he said, Hayagriva Prabhu, where have you been? We have been looking for you for such a long time. Where were you? Hayagriva Prabhu was in such pain, he couldn't even speak anything. Srinathji Prabhu said, why don't you come to Radha Gopinath? We will do your tests. So they took him to Radha Gopinath. And when they did the tests, it was revealed that he had stage 4 terminal cancer. He was almost paraplegic below the waist. Paraplegic below the waist, terminal 4 cancer. But now, he had gone through so much difficulties and so much pain in his life. And now he followed the principle of avyartha kalatu. He would not waste time. जब तक ठोकर नहीं लगती, हिंदी में बोलते हैं जब तक ठोकर नहीं लगती अकल टिकाने नहीं आती. Till the time Krishna doesn't throw a pebble, we don't look around. When someone throws a pebble at us, immediately our instant reaction is, hey, why did you throw? So sometimes when we go so much away from Krishna, on purpose, Krishna puts pebble-like obstacles in our life to remind us, hey, I'm there back. Please look at me. Don't turn your face away from me. Because that's where problem rises. We have been Bahirmukha for many, many lifetimes. So now Hayagriva Prabhu was following a Vyartha Kalatva, would not waste any time, and constantly hearing, constantly chanting, constantly reading Krishna book, not wasting even a single moment. In that state, Param Pujya Srila Radhanath Swami Maharaj came to meet him. When Srila Radhanath Maharaj came to meet Hayagriva Prabhu told Srila Radhanath Maharaj, my dear Maharaj, I have only one regret. I have only one regret. Srila Radhanath Maharaj said this in the class only once, many, many years back. He said, I have only one regret. Srila Radhanath Maharaj said, what is it? Hayagriva Prabhu said, I was young. I had my youth. And how much I could have served Prabhupada. Prabhupada would ask, he would beg from me that, can you please edit my books? And I would just leave and come and leave and come. So much so that I gave tears to my Guru Maharaj. How much pain is there in my heart? I was young. My senses were perfect. Now that I am paraplegic, I am having guilt. But what's the use? I can't do anything. Radhanath Maharaj said, my dear Hayagriva Prabhu, how can I help you? How can I serve you? Hayagriva Prabhu said, my dear Maharaj, I cannot serve Prabhupada right now in any way. I cannot edit his books. I cannot get up and perform artis. I cannot give classes. I cannot go out for Nam Sankirtans. I cannot do anything. But there is one thing I can do that Prabhupada wanted out of me. Srila Radhanath Maharaj said, what is it? Hayagriva Prabhu said, in 1969, when the New Vrindavan project started, Srila Prabhupada asked me to take sannyas. And at that time, I said, no, Prabhupada, I am not qualified. My dear Maharaj, I am begging you. I cannot serve Prabhupada right now in any way. But there is only one thing by doing which I can serve my Gurudev, and that is to take sannyas. So if you feel appropriate, can you please give me sannyas? And because this was Prabhupada's desire, he had told Hayagriva Prabhu to take sannyas. Srila Radhanath Maharaj gave Hayagriva Prabhu sannyas and he became Hayagriva Maharaj. Srila Hayagriva Maharaj ki jai. This is the last few seconds. Hayagriva Prabhu, in his last days as Hayagriva Maharaj, was so absorbed, constant hearing, constant chanting, constantly absorbed. Avyartha Kalatva would just not waste time. And in this mood, Hayagriva Maharaj left this world, completely absorbed in Krishna. When Srila Radhanath Maharaj gave a class after the departure of Hayagriva Prabhu, Srila Radhanath Maharaj said, I am repeating as it is. Srila Radhanath Maharaj said, I have never seen anyone have practical realization of Prabhupada's books to the extent Hayagriva Maharaj had. Because he went through calamities after calamities after calamities, problems after problems after problems, and then he realized what Prabhupada is saying, Dukkhalayam Ashashvatam. Indeed, this world is Dukkhalayam. Radhanath Maharaj said, I never saw anyone have that level of practical realization of Prabhupada's books to the level of Hayagriva Maharaj. So, dear devotees, we may also have fall downs. We may also go through ups and downs. Maybe we may not leave the moment, but there may be subtle fall downs that may take place. But we can be rest assured. This pastime is hope giving that how much ever we may sway away, we may drift away, Prabhupada will still accept us. Our Gurudev will still accept us. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is still ready to accept us. Doesn't mean we leave the moment. But their compassion is so much, even if we go a little off track, they are ready to accept. Whenever there is fall down, even in the slightest way, Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj would say, we have to come back with redoubled enthusiasm. Not that we just lie around in a hammock and say, okay, fall down, ho gaya, to fall down. Ho gaya. But we come back with redoubled enthusiasm to make sure that the mistakes I made in the past should never happen again. Chaitanya Bhagavat describes there are only two reasons for fall down. One, weak sadhana. And second, Vaishnava Aparadha. Vaishnavera gunagrahi na dekhaye dosh, काय mano vakya kare kare santosh. Vaishnavera gunagrahi na dekhaye dosh. If we start criticizing Vaishnavas, all of Mahaprabhu's associates, those who criticized, Mahaprabhu did not like. They were doomed completely. Peak sadhana coupled with Vaishnava Aparadha, classic symptom of fall down. But this pastime of Hayagriva Prabhu becoming Hayagriva Maharaj and through the problems and obstacles that he went through is very hope-giving that whatever it is, Mahaprabhu is there for us. Prabhupada is there for us. Our Gurudev is there for us. And we have to make sure that we don't disappoint them. Our Gurudev is coming down to this world to protect and rescue all of us. A faithful disciple is someone who is 100% surrendered to his Gurudev. When we meet our Gurudev back in the spiritual world, someday, some lifetime, we should be in a position where our head can be held high, that yes, Gurudev, I did this thing for you. Maybe I did not meet the expectation, but at least I did something for you. We may never be qualified, but we are never disqualified in Krishna consciousness. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will always accept us. So, with this mood of Nityananda Trayodasi approaching, Gaura Purnima approaching, let us pray to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu and to our Srila Prabhupada and our Gurudev that, my dear Lord, even I have fall downs. Many times, even I, in a subtle manner, I just stray away. That, my dear Lord, I am like a horse and you are the chariot driver. Just like when a horse goes here and there, the chariot driver has the control of the horse and catch it back. My dear Lord, my senses are like the horse. They go here and there, no control. But you are the charioteer, you are Parthasarathi. You get my senses back and make sure that I never leave your lotus feet ever again. Having said this, I very humbly want to stop here, or I want to pause here. Thank you all, dear devotees, for very, very kindly coming and inspiring me with your very, very kind presence. It was very uplifting and very, very nourishing to be here with the devotees of North Carolina. I just want to make one point. When I was coming here, I spoke to my brother, Amarendra Prabhu. And he told me something that I thought I will share at the end. And I completely agree to what he said. He said, of the so many temples that he has gone for preaching, America, India, and outside also, he said there are 4 temples where the audience were the best from a Shastric standpoint, from the standpoint of being very attentive. He said, number 1 on the list is NBCC Pune, Radheshyam Prabhu's temple. He said number 2 on the list is ISV, under Vaisheshika Prabhu. Number 4 on the list is Melbourne Mahaprabhu Mandir, Australia. And number 3 on the list is Hillsborough, North Carolina. But this congregation is very dear to his heart. And I am not fabricating because he is my brother, but this is exactly what he told. And I said this even in NBCC when I was serving a class there. NBCC devotees are very happy that their temple was number 1. But nonetheless, it is very dear to his heart. And I'm pretty sure after this visit of mine, it is also very dear to my heart. I genuinely want to seek forgiveness if through my visit, if I said something which is not in line, if I didn't present it the right way, please kindly forgive me. I'm still learning. I have not realized anything that I've said. I'm still learning from my Gurudev, from the disciples of Prabhupada, and of course Prabhupada. So if there is anything wrong, feel free to absolutely come to me and correct me so that I make sure I don't make the same mistake in my next presentation. And if you felt that throughout the discussion, if there was anything that inspired you in Krishna consciousness, please pray to Radha Golokanand that may I always keep serving the devotees in whatever way my worshipful spiritual master wants out of me. Whenever you see Radha Golokanand, please offer one single prayer that may I be engaged. May my horse-like senses be engaged in the service of my worshipful spiritual master and all the disciples of Srila Prabhupada and of course His Divine Grace. Abhay Charanaravinda, Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki, Shri Nityananda Rama ki, Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki, Shri Krishna Bhagavan ki, Shri Mati Radharani ki, Vrindavaneshwari Shri Radha ki, Krishna Mana Mohini Srimati Radharani ki, Ashta Sakhi Shiromani ki, Vrindavan Vilasini ki, Vrindavan Viharini ki, Vrindavaneshwari ki, Shri Vrindavan Dhama ki, Shri Vrindavan Dhama ki, Shri Vrindavan Dhama ki, Jai Gaura Premanande. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.